Everybody, you're just in time for What's Hot. This is where we talk about the stories that have everybody talking.
We are joined today by Barb Bartlein, the People Pro. Jeff Wagner back with us out at State Fair. First topic, some people are protesting a change in birthing policies at a western Wisconsin hospital.
This new policy says once a woman has a C-section, she must have another one when giving birth again. This is at a hospital in Hudson.
The hospital says it does not have enough staff to adequately monitor the births. Your thoughts on this?
This is an interesting dilemma. You know, years ago, the old saying was once a cesarean, always a cesarean, and that changed about 10 to 15 years ago, where more and more women were saying, hey, wait a minute, I want to give a shot at having a natural vaginal birth, even though I had a cesarean. Here's the issue, though. This is a small hospital in rural Wisconsin, and having a baby naturally after a cesarean does not come without risks. This hospital is saying that we don't have the staff to do this safely, and I'm sure they don't want the liability.
Yeah, see, this is one where I think Steve and I very quickly, obviously, get beyond our depth. But I agree, Barb. I mean, that was the take that I had on this, that the hospital isn't saying, gee, you know, we're not going to ever allow this to be done. They're saying we don't have the resources, we think, to do this safely, and patient safety is our #1 primary concern. So it seems to me the answer is, if you want to explore other ways of having the second child, what you need to do is go to another hospital.
Which I think is difficult in this area of Wisconsin, so maybe there's the rub. A lot of women don't have the option, but I agree. I think the hospital is better to be safe and admitting they can't staff these types of births because of the risk.
Yeah, and they're not without risks. You run a risk of a ruptured uterus, you run a risk of hemorrhaging.
Some doctors don't allow it.
They don't allow it even in the big city hospitals.
Right. There are some doctors who just won't do it.
Yep, let alone in Hudson.
Jeff and I did a lot of heavy lifting in that segment there. Coming up next, we reveal the viewer's choice topic of the day.
And Jesse Ricca is back with another look at the forecast. Topic of the day.
Again, we're joined by the People Pro herself, Barb Bartlein, and Jeff Wagner, still hanging out at State Fair. The viewer's choice topic today: should cities across the U.S. be housing these unaccompanied immigrant children? Since October 1st, more than 57,000 unaccompanied kids, mostly, have been caught crossing the Mexican border illegally.
Chicago's taking in 1,000 children. This is just such an emotionally charged issue for people.
And there's talk about some abandoned grocery stores in Madison possibly being used to house some of them. What do you do?
Okay, well, here's what people need to understand. I mean, first of all, the vast majority of these kids are people ages 13 to 17. It's not 5 years old. But regardless, the problem is, it's one thing to say temporary housing. It's another thing to say, hey, you're going to come into this country and you're going to stay for the next 5, 10, 15 years. That's a much different issue. And my concern is, you bring 1,000 or 2 or 3 or 5,000 people to Madison, are you going to then say we're going to take responsibility for them for 5 or 10 or 15 years? That's a tough call.
Well, Jeff, I've got an issue with the money. The money, first of all, everybody's making a lot of money off of these kids. The smugglers get $5,000 to $10,000 every time they bring a kid across the border. And then $280 million went to agencies to provide housing for these kids. And I have a feeling I'm footing that bill. And you're right. What is the plan? What if we put $280 million into securing the border? Would the money be better spent there? I'm afraid a floodgate's been opened up and there's no end in sight.
I think that you do need to figure out how to stop it. But you know what? My first instinct is you have to take care of these kids. I see the other side, but I can't get over that mom in me because it's not the kid's fault. You know, I just feel horrible for these children.
But what you need to do, though, is you need to figure out a way to return them as quickly as possible to where they came.
I agree. There needs to be an end game.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not clear what the plan is, other than to keep dumping money at it.
Does it make it more difficult, though, to have an end game when you take 57,000 kids and scatter them to the wind across the country?
Yeah, I mean, how do you even figure out, you know, who their parents are, how to get them back, where they go? It seems like a daunting project.
Right, and you have to recognize it starts with shutting this off. I mean, we're talking, what, 50, 60, 70,000 people this year. Projections are it might be 100,000 next year. You got to start by shutting it down and then figure out what you do next. But it's a difficult issue.
All right, lightning round time. A Seattle school district banning sweets. Parents were told they can't bring any more of those, the birthday treats, to school. They are instead encouraged to bring stickers and some pencils. Many parents actually like the new rule.
Jeff, I heard you talking about something along these lines not too long ago, so you go first. Have at this. It's a pinata, my friend.
Okay, first of all, here's the deal. Where I went to school, for your birthday, you bring pencils instead of cupcakes, you're getting beat up. That's just the absolute reality of the whole thing. Look, the reason we have fat kids is not because a kid might have a cupcake for a treat. To me, this is one the schools need to stay out of it. I'm all in favor of healthy eating and promoting that, but a kid bringing a cupcake for their birthday, no problem. And by the way, I'm getting thumbs up from all these people around me at State Fair on this one.
Well, you might be getting thumbs up, but I sure disagree with you, Jeff. This is one of those instances where it's obvious that you don't have children because you haven't had a kid tell you at 9 or 10 o'clock at night that they got to bring a treat the next day. I don't want to do it. That. And plus, you know what? The kids don't need this. You can make a kid feel very special on their birthday. Give them a hat. Let them sit up at the table with the teacher. They feel special without putting sugar all over the room.
Yeah, and a lot of kids in the class have allergies and they can't eat this stuff anyway. So
both of you, come on.
All right, we gotta go.
How did I survive? I got to play with fireworks. I had a BB gun. I ate cupcakes, and oh my God, I'm still here. I ate. I didn't really think about it.
Well, Jeff's getting cupcakes for his birthday.
And no seatbelts.
The What's Hot discussion continues online. Find it at tmj4.com/hot. We'll be back.